Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a rainbow tie-dye t-shirt cake. On the inside it's got a really cool design for tie-dye, and on the outside I'm going to be showing you a new technique on how to make this really cool swirl design like you would find on a real tie-dye t-shirt. So let's get started. To make our tie-dye t-shirt cake, we're going to be using white buttercream. We're going to be using yellow, black, and white fondant. And then down in front here, I have the decorating gels. Now I have them in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. If you can't find these, I'm going to show you how to make your own colored gel when we get to that part of the video. And for the rest of the ingredients is vanilla cake batter that has been colored green, yellow, red, blue, purple, and orange. So for this cake, I'm going to be using my much loved t-shirt cake pan. If you don't have a t-shirt cake pan, you can just freehand from a half a sheet or a 9x13 cake pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take spoonfuls of my batter and I'm just going to randomly place it around the cake and then inside the cake pan. Now I want to drop them on top of each other and just build until the whole thing is covered with my randomly placed cake batter. So I want it to look like a tie-dye shirt on the outside and the inside. Once you have all of your cake batter into the pan, it should look something like this, and it's going to go into the oven for probably 50 to 60 minutes at a preheated 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the cake has cooked and cooled completely, it's ready to put on the white buttercream. So I'm going to cover the cake completely with my buttercream. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you can't find the already made decorating gel, you can make your own. And you can just use this piping gel, and it's just clear. So you just take a little bit of that and then put it into a container. And then you can add your gel paste into that. Add a little bit in there. Mix it up. And you've got your colored gel paste. And I've got mine in my piping bag ready for the cake. So I have my piping gel colored and I have my cake covered. So now we're ready to pipe on our design. So we're just going to start near the middle. And I'm just going to squeeze into a spiral. You don't have to be very, neat or precise with this, which also makes this a really cool design and easy to do. I'm going to switch colors to my orange and go around. And then I'm going to switch to my yellow and just keep going spiraling out like this. So I have all the piping gels here out on the cake now, and I'm going to be using a paintbrush that is for just when I'm doing cake work or fondant work, and it's about 1 centimeter in thickness. What I found most effective was to first go with just the light colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my brush and then I'm going to drag through the piping gel like this. So you're going to have to wash your brush a lot. So that's one stroke, and now I have to wash it. So this is definitely time consuming, but it's a really cool effect. And you want to make sure that you're not rushing, and you want to make sure that you clean your brush, because even if I've just wiped it with paper towel, you can still see that there's a little bit of residue on the brush. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the top of the cake, and when I'm finished, I'll be back to show you the final product on top, and then we'll do the sides. So I have the top of the cake done, which I'll show you later, but now I'm moving on to the side. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the top, and that's just squeeze along some of the piping gel. And you can do it in any sort of pattern or any, order that you want to do it. I'm just going to do some blue and purple here because there wasn't a lot that showed up on the top, and some red. And then I'm going to start my wiping with the paintbrush again. Once the cake is all finished, what we can work on next is the fondant piece, and we're going to cut out the smiley face first. So I've just rolled it nice and thin, and then I have a 3.5 inch cutter, a round one obviously, and just cut that out and set that aside to harden slightly. Next we're going to do the smiley face's actual face. So I'm using another round cutter, and it is 3 inches. And then I'm going to use a 2 3/4 inch round cutter. And I'm just going to line that up so it's relatively equal on all sides. Pull that up. And then I can just slice it in the middle. And then I've got my smile. So I'll put that aside to dry slightly as well. Keeping with my black fondant, I'm just using the bottom of a tip, and I'm going to just poke out a little eyeball there. So, and another one. I'm just using the back of another paintbrush just to work that out of the back of the tip. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it kind of like an oval look, and that's the overall shape that I want for the eyes. So you can leave the smiley face with just the yellow, but what I thought made it pop a little bit was a background of white. So I'm using a larger white cutter or a round circle cutter, and it's 3 3/4 in size. So I'm just going to press that down. And then in order to attach everything to each other, I just need to use a little bit of water. So I'll put some water on the back here of the yellow, and then just flip it over and put it on top of the white. And then we'll do that with the face as well. So there you go, everybody. I put the smiley face on top, and the gel is enough to have it stick, so there's no problem and you don't need water to put it onto top. So I've also cut out a slice so you can see the inside of the tie-dye cake. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all again next time.